All right. Good morning. How are y'all doing? Hope everybody is doing well today. Thank you so much for being here. Today, we're going to be talking about when people in the US Mint decide that they want to relieve the mint of things. Um, we'll talk a little bit about this. There's a couple different stories. I'm going to hurry up and get set up with my other live stream really quickly. Make sure that this is set up properly. All right, Siren, if you can drop that in the vertical stream, I would appreciate that. Thank you so much for doing that. Much appreciated. All right, let's go ahead and say hi to everybody. I do apologize for that. I was trying to resolve something that I continue to forget about every stream that I do. So appreciate you guys. All right, so let's see what's going on. Steve looking for silver. What's going on? Azure Blue. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Sloppy Stacks, Paula, good to see you. Hope everything is going well. AZ Coins, now Ron AZ. What's up, brother? Nice to see you. David Carlisle, good to see you. Hey, Squatty Aquati, first one in chat today. Rob's Numismatics, how you doing? Kevin Hawthorne, good to see you. Oh, man, I don't know if I've missed anybody. Siren, thank you so much for all your help. I really appreciate you. You're a stud. Much appreciated. David Carlisle is not here. I thought he would be here already. What's going on, David? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. All right. I am all set up, raring to go. Track the changes, and let's get started. What's up, Jags? How you doing? Good morning. Hope you are doing well. Hey, Happy Chappy, what's up, brother? Good to see you. I think you're going to like today's topic. This is going to be one of those things that you kind of like the stories, the history, the mystery, and so I think you'll like this one as well. Farm Dog, what's up, brother? Hope you're doing really well. Good to see you. All right, so got a couple things to chat with you about. So today, I was trying to think of some things to do where I can do 2, 3 Saturdays in a row. Kind of a small little mini series, stuff like that. And I was trying to figure out what would be a fun topic. Paul and I often talked about different stories and things that go on, and some of the horde stories, or where they found the 1982 no mint marked dimes, and when they found the 1955 double dice in a like the cigarette machines, right? These just really cool stories. So how can I get back into doing some of that stuff, and how can I kind of find some of these stories? So what I started to do is I looked at things that have happened from the mint, how we've gotten certain things, stories that have come out of the mint, and I stumbled upon something that I think would be really cool. And that would be, what happens when a mint person decides he wants to relieve the mint, or she wants to relieve the mint of something? And so I went through and found 5 different stories, starting at 1901 and going up until a little bit more modern time. And so I'm going to go over these really, really briefly, kind of tell you about what's going on. And then we're going to really kind of dig into one of them. I'm going to be doing videos on each one of these, but this is kind of going to be a little mini series for you guys. I think you'll really enjoy this. You guys know I love my history, and I love teaching you guys about the history. And I also like learning about what happened to these people. And you'll know by watching my channel over time, doing things like the only hijacking never to be discovered, or to be, the case broke out by the FBI. What happened to him? How did that occur? Why were they never able to find him? Looking at some of these different stories. I just think it'd be fun. So I thought this would be a lot of fun for you guys. All right, I am rambling, so let's go ahead and dig into it. So the first one I'm going to start with is a man by the name of Walter Dimmock. And now Walter Dimmock had this really interesting way of doing things. He was a clerk. He worked at the San Francisco Mint. And because he was a clerk, he had to be able to get into the different aspects of the different locations about the mint. So whether it be the offices, whether it be the cages where you would store the metals or where you would store the coins, they had access to everything. This included the vaults. And he would have to do routine audits and look at discrepancies and try to find things. Ironically, it was this position that afforded him the opportunity to snag a bunch of coins. How many coins are we talking about? Well, we're talking about 6 bags of $20 gold double eagles. At that time, valued about $30,000, which was, yeah, that's a crap ton of money nowadays, right? What's interesting about this is when they started looking through, Dimmock was automatically kind of the primary suspect because he had access to everything. However, they were never able to actually build up enough direct evidence, and because of that, only spent 9 years in prison. Now, I say only because, again, you're talking about stealing from, the federal government, and this was pre-1913 and all that stuff. The monetary standard of the United States was still set on silver and gold. So again, this was a major capital offense. But there's a mystery here, and this is where we're going to get a little bit deeper in today, because it might have been linked to something that was never actually paired together, and that's called the Silver Ridge Hoard. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. The second one that we're going to do, and this is going to be probably next week, and again, we'll talk about a couple different weeks, is going to be the Denver Mint. Now, I put a question in chat at the very beginning of the stream, and I don't know if anybody answered it, but I want you to answer it now if you can. There was a very famous and colorful story regarding a person at the Denver Mint known as the one-legged pirate, or the wooden leg pirate. Now, he was a mint employee and actually hollowed out his prosthetic leg, little wooden leg, and would put gold inside of it. If you guys can look it up, find out however you want to, the name of that gentleman before I end today, I will do a comment picker through here, and I will give away a couple entries to the EC Dime Challenge. So that's a piece of homework for you before the stream's over. The peg-legged pirate. Yes, I want his real name. All right. Now, apparently, he had filled out a kind of circular tube pattern in his prosthetic wooden leg. And he was able to put these gold pieces. Now, not only did he use gold pieces, he actually stole the gold item that they would use for electroplating. So if you know what electroplating is, it's where you take a bar of copper, silver, or gold, whatever you want to transpose to the other metal, and then through electrolysis, you transfer the metal to the surface of the other one. And when they start to wear down, you get this little kind of nubby triangle thing of gold. And he was stealing them. And it became a really, really big thing. But he also stole coins. So there was a bunch of things that happened. Anyway, we're going to talk more about that story next week because it's kind of lore. And when you talk about the Denver Mint, it was something there. Obviously, you guys know, if you stack or collect, you know about one of the greatest thefts in all of American coin history, and that's the 1933 gold recall. I consider that to be one of the biggest thefts ever. And if you talk to most stackers, they will too, because they told everybody they were confiscating their gold and then paid them a very minimal price, only to basically double spot price in a year's time to offset some of the monies that they owed and settle debts. Again, massive theft. Talk about it as you wish, but that is another one. We talk a lot about this one, but the one thing about this during this time frame was that there was a Mint employee who actually, during this confiscation, during that time frame, they made the 1933 Godwin's double eagle illegal. They weren't going to release them. It was part of the call. They said, a number of them had got out. We wanted to recall them back. Well, there was a gentleman by the name of Israel Swit, and he actually was a jeweler, had been selling them to this person. And when the theft was discovered, the Philadelphia jeweler had a whole bunch of these and had been selling them to collectors. Now, Secret Service got involved. There was a bunch of stuff looked at. And this is where they discovered that King Farouk of Egypt actually had bought one legitimately ahead of time. And because of this, there was a legal precedent of ownership. And so most of them got called back, but not all of them. And so in that pre-33 double eagle scandal, there was some theft that happened during that time frame. So that's another topic that we're going to talk about coming soon. The fourth one on the list that we're going to break down is going to be the William Gray presidential dollar heist. And this is where the guy stole 32,000. I want you to think about this. 32,000 of the presidential golden dollars that had no "In God We Trust" on the border, on the rim, or the edge. Oh my God, Paul is going to kill me. On the edge. And so because they didn't have that, they were considered error coins. Well, you talk about 32,000 coins and you talk about the amount of money that they were going for. That was eventually led up to, 2007 Washington letters, right? The total amount that they charged him was stealing $2.4 million worth of coins. He was sentenced to 36 months in prison, and he had to forfeit everything basically to pay some of the money back. It was never able to recoup it. But again, what this one did is really highlighted, this isn't a small amount of coins. You're talking about 32,000 coins over, good grief, a year or so, right? Yeah, I have one of those too. Actually, I found it in the wild. When they first came out, they were very expensive. Didn't realize what I had. I had kept it. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Had no idea the significance of it at the time. But I still have it down in my storage area, my storage facility, where I keep all of my metals. And so cool things. But how in the world could you have stole 32,000 of these? Right? So the Mint really, at this point in time frame, was doing a lot of stuff to stop some of the errors that were happening on the coins, stop some of the Mint created items. You talk about the mules that have happened that have come from the Mint. You talk about the 1913 V-nickel that somebody created 5 of proofs and gave them away. And so there's been nefarious Mint employees for a long, long time. So again, we'll go kind of through that. We'll dig into that one. And then the last one that I'm going to do in the series is actually going to be a non-US Mint. It's actually going to be the Royal Canadian Mint and a gold smuggling case where there was a bank teller, a gold member. They had found a way to get money into, I think it's like a laundry bag. They were getting it out, or a specific money bag. This teller was the one who was claiming it, would take it out. They would basically filter it through another type of sale and then get the money back. Massive security loophole was discovered during this time frame, and it was a massive, massive issue for the Mint. And so I think there was something about $160,000, $170,000 worth of gold that had been done in a very short time frame, and it was a really big deal. So we'll be talking more about that one. That's the one I'm going to wrap it up with. So let's get back to the very first one. Now, again, if I told you during the time frame, if you came up with a name, if you didn't, it's okay. I see Farm Dog had came up with it. Paula had come up with it. I do see a couple people put in. I appreciate it. And you guys are, in fact, correct. And it was Orville. Yeah, interesting story. We're going to talk about another one right now. So we're going to go into the Demnick, the very first one, 1901. This is the gold double eagle heist. This is the one. Hey, News, how you doing? Good to see you. There is, where is this? Let me pull this up real quick. Okay, there is a very interesting story regarding the Walter Dinmick stealing of $30,000 worth of $20 gold double eagles. Now, I mean, think about that. You know, when you're talking about 6 bags, that's a significant amount of gold over that time. And again, when you're talking about the amount of money that was estimated, we'll kind of dig into this. But there's a link, there's kind of a mysterious kind of tie to this particular story that I found extremely interesting. And you guys know me, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I don't like to do that. I like to uncover the facts and find out some details regarding, a coin or the stories, right? Give you guys good, solid information. So there's kind of a connection here, but it's never been proven. Kind of like the case with the guy who jumped out of the back of the plane, parachuted, got away, right? There were always reported cases. There were people they believed to be the guy. Unfortunately, it was never actually proven, and it kind of still goes unsolved. Now, there's been new information on that case, and they think they may have actually figured out who it was. Yeah, thank you so much, Azir. But it's one of those things where an amazing story. This is one of those that kind of leads to a discovery of coins 112 years later. So again, when we're talking about the Walter Dinman case, the Dinman case happened 1901, San Francisco Mint. 6 bags, $20 gold eagles were missing, valued about $30,000. However, they couldn't fully convict him of the theft. Now, again, we talked about the importance of that, why that was so important earlier. The coins were never recovered. Okay, so they caught him, but they never could kind of pin the full-on guilty treasonous act of stealing the United States monetary system. And so because of that, he only spent 9 years in prison, but the items never happened. Now, let's talk about what would happen in 1905, 1904, 1906. I can't remember. 1906, the major earthquake, the fire in San Francisco. This was only 5 years later. So again, we're talking about a gentleman who had stole 6 bags of gold $20 double. Try that again. 6 bags of gold $20 double eagles. You had to have hidden them somewhere. You had to have been able to put them somewhere. 1901, not too many private offshore banks that you could really get your money into. Doing a major deposit of a bunch of gold would probably flag you within the system, even back in 1901. There probably were just not a whole lot of places for him to put it. So he had to have put it in the region, right? He would have had to either have buried it or stuck it somewhere, maybe in, again, there's a lot of connections people have, maybe put it in a cellar or something, but he would have had to have stored it somewhere. But being that it's San Francisco, if he was still working at the mint, there would have been a lot of people checking and looking around his properties. They've been trying to have found things but they just were never ever able to recover it. So there were a lot of speculations about what happened to the money and where it went. But regardless of what actually happened, they were never, they could not ever track down the money. And then something weird happened. In 2013, there was a couple that were walking on their property there in California, and it was kind of one of the last major spring storms had kind of washed through, and they had taken their dogs for a walk. And the ground, again, after you have a major desert storm, again, they pretty much washes the ground flat, will wash away debris from the surface, and it often uncovers things like arrowheads and things like that. So people always look around for that stuff after storms in the desert. And while they were walking, the lady kind of looked up and was like, oh, there's something out there. I haven't seen that before. So they kind of walked off their normal beaten path, and they came across a coin, a little container. Now, what did that container look like? Well, I'm going to show you what that container looked like. All right, that container looks something like this. Now, obviously, you can see that the ground around it had been pulled aside, and there were some um, areas that, kind of had worn away. But if you look really, really closely, really carefully at this image, you might kind of notice a little something popping out of it, right? You see that right there? That little glimmer, that little glint. Well, that little glint wasn't something small. It was actually this. And this is the, oh, I hate it when it does that. Hold on just a second. It shared the right item, but it shared the wrong. Let me share my. Give me just a second. Let me try to pull this up. All right, here we go. Let me share this. I think that'll actually present. Yeah, that actually presents the right information now. Okay. So this hoard, yeah, tons of containers, really cool. But this is the Saddle Ridge hoard. Now, a lot of people have speculated, and again, I call it speculation because we simply don't have any proof. There was no proof that this particular case had anything to do with Walter Dimmick. However, regional area, again, same people, things like that, right? So there were always some concerns regarding this. And again, this is what we're talking about, the Saddle Ridge hoard. So again, the lady is walking along with her husband and her dogs. They come across something, and they found these. Now, when they actually pulled these up, you can see that these are small, little corroded metal tubes, and they are full of some amazing gold coins. And I believe it was said in chat, yeah, Azure, they found 8 containers. Whoops. What just happened? That was really weird. Anyway, okay. I'm showing something on my screen, but it's not showing it looked like I got kicked out. Yeah, so again, that's exactly where I'm going. The gold is beautiful, right? It had been very well preserved. And so when you look at some of these coins that actually have come out into pretty decent shape. But again, here's another picture of the canister that they pulled these out of. And then again, you can see some of these canisters were much bigger than the other ones, but full of gold coins. Now, what's cool about this is that, again, when you're looking at some of these, a majority of these are going to be fairly decent grades. Again, you see 5 coins here. 4 of them are $20 double eagles, and then one of them there is the $10 eagle. The amount of these was pretty significant. I think there were 13,000 coins, or 1,300 coins in the $20 realm, 50 in the $10 realm, and just a few in the $5 realm. But all from varying years. And again, if you look at this, this coin right here, the closed three, it's a pretty valuable item. So this hoard again was discovered in 2013. Well, it's not necessarily a backyard find, Joseph. It was found kind of in a field on people's property, but yeah, it was a fairly large piece of land. Again, you're talking to what 2013 farmers, so you're talking a significant portion of land. So anyway, they went through, and again, you're talking about gold coins from 1849 all the way up into the 1890s. So again, when you're looking at some of these, what would the mint have had potentially in the vaults, right? So a lot of people who have speculated on this go, well, if there were things back in the 1890s and this happened in 1901, wouldn't the mint person only have had access to the most recent gold coins? And it's kind of funny when you hear people say that, because the mint keeps a lot of things on store. They had silver and gold were monetary. It was tied to our money, right? And so you had to ensure that you had the physical gold on demand if somebody wanted to bring in the paper money and say, hey, I want to trade this in or exchange this in for my gold. So a lot of people forget that the places like the mint and the various depositories and even Federal Reserve, well, the Federal Reserve banks weren't there, but there were national banks and local state banks around. And now those state banks and things, they were very problematic. So you had to be careful when you're putting your stuff there. But the mint and the depositories maintained these things. And if this particular gentleman would have had access to these vaults to do these audits, clearly he would have had access to very many dates. And so there's a high likelihood that you're going to have been able to have received a number of different dates, not just, the 1900, 1901 during the time period that he was doing this. So it's very logical that if you look at, the way they store stuff and things of that nature, they would have had a number of these dates stored in their coffers. And so what happens when you stumble across a set of coins like this? What happens when you are doing this? Well, this is one of those things that actually brought to rise, hey, what do you do in a situation where you find this stuff? And again, there were a lot of legal battles over this particular find. And the judge deemed that there was no tie, no connection. Even though they suggested highly and kind of went back to, we really think this could be the same general basic amount of coins that would have been taken from the various bags. When you look at the amount of coins, the amount of the quality of the coins and things of that nature, there were pretty direct correlations. Unfortunately, there just was not enough evidence to actually tie these two together. So what would you do in that particular case? Well, federal judge finally come back and said, we can't keep this from you. And they did come to an agreement that some of the coins would go to private hands in a trade, and then they would be sold off. And so they went through and started looking at companies to do this. And again, as you can see here, worked with partnership with PCGS to get these coins graded, and then they were sold. Now, one of the cool things about this, now I'm actively looking for a coin from this hoard. I am going to have to sell a bunch of the things that I have in order to fund the purchase of it, but I'm going to have one of these. I'm going to work hard to get one. There were recent sales. I can show you. I'll show you PCGS here in just a moment. But they're absolutely phenomenal, fabulous looking, and I love the story behind it. I like the fact that there's that really close connection, but just in that, just in the case with the Pacific Northwest, again, DB Cooper, as you're reminded, there's a lot of there's a lot of strange ties and strange things that happen. And it's those intricacies, the stories, the little tidbits that really intrigue me. And so I'm going to continue to look into this. And again, as I stated at the very beginning, I'm going to be making a more in-depth video on this one. Because you guys know me, I love my hoard stories. And if it can tie back to somebody who was actually at the mint and even though served time for something, just like the guy who they believe is D.B. Cooper, actually had served time for completing that act a second time. Initially, they thought they found his stuff and found a few things and thought it was only associated with the one. But yeah, again, D.B. Cooper, that's an amazing story. I have a video on it. You should go check it out. I followed it up and had an interview with somebody who was a paratrooper and actually done, mountain terrain dives and dives in water and talked about it. Gary Huffman, really cool stories. If you guys like that kind of stuff, make sure you go watch those videos. But this particular hoard, they never really were able to tie it to. And so it's that mystery involved question about what happened and where can that be and what should we do? And so just it's amazing stories, right? And so I really want to get one of these. And I've already started, as I started kind of looking through this idea, I've already been rummaging through some of my coins going, yeah, I can sell that. I can sell that. I can sell that. I can sell that. Because I'm going to fund the purchase of this one way or another. I'm going to work, even if I have to save for a year, but I will find this coin. This is definitely one that I want to have in my set. Again, just fabulous coins. Again, that 1894 MS65. Well, by the way, if you notice the labels, they are all S mint marks. Curious. Why weren't they D, or why weren't they O, or you know what I mean? Why weren't they Philadelphia? They were all S. Curious kind of link, right? But anyway, so it was this kind of story, this kind of looking at what happened at the mint. And this was, again, one of the major ones that the mint really went, we've got some issues. We need to work through and make sure that we are safeguarding our stuff. And they have implemented security measures and security measures. Well, yeah, that's true. It was California. And proximity to gold rush and stuff. That makes sense. But again, you're talking about the San Francisco Mint having been open for a number of years at this point. They would be the primary one in the market. So yeah, good point there. But anyway, yeah, fun stuff. So we'll be talking more next week about the next story and talking about the one that happened with the Double Eagle scandal of 1933. We'll kind of talk about a little bit of that, but more talking about the mint employee who kind of stole a bunch of 1933 God's Double Eagles and sold them to a jeweler who was selling them. So we'll talk about that coin next week. I just wanted to bring you guys a little story, and you guys know that I try to only take about 30 to 40 minutes to kind of hit the premise of the stories. Did you guys enjoy that? Again, I know I kind of just ended that abruptly, but it's one of those. It's one of those where I really want to dig in and provide a really good, solid video for you guys on that. But I want to know if you guys like this kind of stuff, because if you want me to do more of this kind of stuff, I will absolutely do it. I love this stuff. It has made me, Jack Riley's like, yes. It has made me look at, why do I collect? And yeah, vote for Pedro. It's a great story. Why do I collect? And when I started looking at the hoards, I was like, okay, GSA, got it. Love that. Looking at, big sky hoard, the Ike dollar hoard. I have a coin. Let me stop sharing my screen really quick and show you. There we go. So I have a coin here that it's an interesting piece. Jack Riley would like that. Jack Young would like that, and Paula would like that for two reasons. So you guys look at that slab a little bit closer and tell me what you see, if you have any concerns about it. I picked that up from Mad Stacker and told him I wanted that piece. It was in his pile. I told him I wanted that piece. So look at the label, check that out. See if you guys can find anything on that. Interesting piece. We can talk more about that later. But I like the stories. And so when I figured out that I wanted to have this conversation, I started actually going back to, why do I collect? What is it that I want to collect? And I really enjoy the story. It's the story to me that matters. And when I talk with my friends, Azure Blue is here. Azure Blue introduced me to somebody, and I got to tell you, for a little while, I kind of went stupid. And Azure knows exactly who I'm talking about. But I was like, you grow up hearing things and listening to things and knowing names of people, and it's cool. And when you actually get to talk to somebody like that, it was like completely fat foolish. But I'm looking to having more conversations. Hope you're still here, Azure. That was a huge treat. Hey Eric, how you doing, bud? The pool is looking fabulous. He's been working hard on getting his pool back together and getting everything done. Sent me a photo of that. He said, I'm going to take some time off, but hope you're doing well. Hope to see you back here. Not sure what we're talking about tomorrow. I'll reach out to you later on and get with you. But good to see you in stream. Yeah, so I'm actually going to pull that up, but it started making me think, what is it about these coins that I want? What is it that I really want to start having in my collection? Hey, speak of the devil, what's going on, Mike? Good to see you. Mike, I was just going to use him as an example, and he pops up in the chat. Mike collects a very specific genre of coin. He likes a very specific niche. And as I've looked through, you guys know I love my ships. I will always collect my ships. I love my ship coins. They're absolutely fabulous. But I also love hoards. I love the stories behind them. And so as I started going through, I look at some of the very early stuff, and some of it's semi-valuable, some of it's not. A couple pieces are really nice. But I'm like, why do I have them? Really, what is it about them that I want? And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going through my stack, going through my collection, and I'm going to be weeding it out and collecting some more of these things. Now, there was a question in chat that said, how much would one of those things cost? If you were to actually try to buy one of those, how much would that cost you? And I've got something up here on stream. You guys can see this. This is the 1861S. These are all slabbed again by PCGS. And one sold in 2024. Now, granted, the prices of these coins have gone up because the value of gold has significantly increased. So remember that when you're looking at this. A mintage of 748,000. Again, when you're looking at this one, AU50, 1861, you see that S on the back. But this is that $20 double eagle. And so you can find them for a pretty decent price. They don't have I wouldn't say a massive numismatic upcharge. They do have a pretty good one, but when you're talking about the price of gold right now, 37, kind of that general area, looking at getting one of these coins, 39 with the hoard, it's probably going to be about a $4,000 coin. Maybe give or take a little bit more. Mike may be, try that again. Mike may be able to get a better idea of exactly what one of these would go for. I'm going to be sending him some messages because, again, I'm going to be looking at getting something. Not necessarily the double. If I can get the 10, that would be cool. A bit more. Yeah, well, like a bit more as in how much a bit more? Because again, this is something that I haven't really done a whole lot of research on yet. This is, again, you periodically will assess your stack and your collection to try to, oh, hundreds more. Okay. We'll look at and find out what that is, and then you and I can have a discussion. Because again, this is something I want to look at. Now, if I have to offload a fairly decent chunk of my stuff that is, well, it's nice, but I really don't look at it a lot, I would have no problem with offing some of that stuff. So I'll get with you. We'll have some discussions and figure out what we can do. But it's definitely one of those things that I want to have. And again, if you look at these, you know, the price isn't moving much. There's not a whole lot of these that are showing up in this particular year. But again, the price significantly jumps if you're going to be doing something higher than AU. So, and this is a number of years ago. And so, you know, who knows what the price is now. But yeah, really cool piece. Now there's a whole bunch of them. It's not the only one. This is going to be another story that I'm going to get into. Oh, you guys can't see my screen. Oh, that's okay. No worries. Another Denver Horde story that's going to be fun, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that one in a couple of weeks. I want to do a little bit more of a dive into that one because I think what I'll do with the Denver story is I'll probably release the video on it Wednesday, and then give it a couple days to breathe, and then talk about it in depth on Saturday. So we'll talk about that. I'm going to figure out, but again, we're going to try and do this over the next couple of weeks to get some more of these stories out. But I want to look at yeah, so there's a couple of them that are here, Frank. So this, again, this is just the 1861. If we were looking at the 65, 66 that I showed you guys the image of earlier, let me find that image, this one right here. This one right here. That 1894 65, oh, that's going to be much, much more significantly expensive. But we're talking about AUXF coins, you know, for my wheelhouse. I won't be looking at too many of the MS coins. There's no way I'd be able to afford or justify something higher. Because you're talking about lots of money when you're getting up there in that MS65, MS66 range. That's some significant coinage, but fabulous. Yeah, I mean, absolutely gorgeous. And you know, periodically you need to take time and reassess what are you collecting? What is it that you want to do? And I have a bunch of stuff. I have a bunch of stuff on my desk for some of the videos that I've been working on. And I'm like, I really like this. I really like this. But why in the world do I have all this other stuff? What am I using it for? And so I'm going through and kind of reassessing a bunch of my stuff. I think it's good to do. I think it's healthy to do. I think even as stackers, it's good to go through and reassess some of your stuff. Look at some of your numismatic items and determine, you know, hey, do I want to invest in some more numismatic elements and take and get a nicer MS62, MS63, MS64, MS65, right? Do you want to go up the line and do some more and more expensive coins. A lot of people say that's kind of a dumb strategy. I don't think it is. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. Paul, you can speak to that too. But if you're looking at the high collectibles, normally their numismatic value stays pretty much secure. Now it's going to, it'll flex, it'll go up and down. But especially your ultra rare, your ultra collectible, but your really, really, really good solid grades in pretty much any run are going to carry a little bit of a premium, especially if they're near top pop. And so you have collectors who run these various sets. They do the registries, and those folks want the nicer grades, right? And again, it's a competition for some of the elite, right? There's big money in some of these high-end stacks, and I mean big money. Eric has a friend that has been on Copper Coins quite a bit, him and Chuck, who loves researching and identifying and searching through coins. And he's got amazing collections and coins that are registry worthy. Actually, I think he has a pretty solid registry. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Eric, but I think he's like a top 10 registry for some cents. It's just unreal, his collection. And so there are people who will look for the top pop, look for those high dollar items. And if you can find those, and you have a bunch of things, but it's carrying too much space or whatnot, maybe you can sell that stuff down and buy one of those items and hold that value. Again, you have to do what you have to do, but there's always strategies, and I think you should constantly be reassessing your strategy, whether it be stacking, whether it be collecting, whether it be artwork, whether it's your investment portfolio for retirement. There should always be a constant reassess and a re-review of those elements. And so this is kind of what I'm doing with my collection right now, is kind of reviewing it and reassessing it and looking at, how do I want to present? What do I want to do? How do I want to present myself? How do I want to present the channel? And what kind of stuff can I bring you that is beneficial? And not just beneficial from the standpoint of it talks about coins, but generally benefits you as people. Good, solid information that actually grows you, that pours into you. Because again, I can't stand misinformation. Even if I accidentally spout it, I will remove it. If that means removing videos or whatnot. So I really want to make sure you guys have the best stuff that you can have. Azure, I'm really more of a stacker, but have some cool collectibles. I'm trying to get away from the dollar. Yeah, and again, matter of fact, Azure, I asked you a question earlier in chat. Don't know if you got it. Did your shiny little new toy come in? A beautiful piece, man. Absolutely beautiful piece. It might be time to sell my Beanie Baby collection. Hey, vote for Pedro. Some of those Beanie Babies go for a crap ton of money. And I mean crap ton of money. It's insane. I wish I had my sister years ago, meaning well, was trying to take my high-end collectible first edition model Millennium Falcon and hang it from the ceiling because she wanted to do something cool for me. And the fishing line broke and it shattered into like 10,000 pieces. Absolutely, absolutely horrible. But that thing's worth just buku money nowadays. So yeah, again, those Beanie Babies can be worth a ton. Farm Dog, I watched my ex-girlfriend pay $700. Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. Yeah, again, well, people still collect them. There's a very niche market for it, but there is some amazing stuff. Gray Fox, how you doing? My Morgan went from 36 to 2,600. Maybe there was a hoard. Maybe somebody found a whole bunch of them and dropped them off into the market. When there's a rapid increase of coin that's discovered or put into public, or a major collector or stacker, numismatist or something like that dumps a 500 coins into the fray, values can drop. We talk about and I never remember the date of this, 1902S, 1904S, 1894S. I can never remember which one that is. But there was a hoard found and the freaking price dropped through the floor. So unfortunately, that does happen. But that's bad news, Gray Fox. I'm sorry about that. Azure, gold and silver sunflower. Yeah, such a gorgeous piece. I have all gold high relief, but I never see Azure. You're making me question our friendship, brother. Oh, I wish I could do that. I can't. I have a hard time leaving things in boxes. Some of the old toys and stuff, yeah, no problem. But being able just to leave them in unopened boxes, and whoever you will your collection to is gonna make out like dog. Hope your kids appreciate that because they're gonna be ripping it open to figure out what it is. No, and he knows I'm kidding him. Azure and I have become good friends, and he's good people. Yeah, and I think you got the silver one too. You got both of them? Yeah, gold and silver. Very cool. Yeah, it's like Tiger Stacker. Tiger Stacker, he will always buy 3 of everything. He puts 2 in the tube, and he always buys 1 because he knows his wife is going to say, "Is that for me?" Oh, I love his wife. His wife is hilarious. She's neat people. Oh, speaking of, next week, oh, okay, so Pedro, that's not a coin. That's just boxes. That's just boxes of stuff. I have yet to move into a house, and I've had maybe 6 houses in my lifetime. I have yet to move into a house that I have unpacked every single box. I always end up with stuff. And after I live in a time, if I don't use that box ever, I'll go through it really quickly to make sure nothing valuable is in there, and I just throw everything away. If I haven't needed it in 4 years, I don't need it. So I hoard stuff, and then when I move, I get rid of a bunch of stuff. Mike, he says, got to balance bowling his first tournament in 6 years. Oh, dude, awesome. Text me later. Let me know how you do. Now that my shoulder's getting better, I'm trying to get out and do stuff. My game, I went out and played with my girls. Holy smokes. It sucked. It was horrible. So I got a long way to go to come back, but I've got to be careful with my shoulder. I don't want to re-injure it. So best of luck in the tournament. Enjoy yourself. And again, text me. Let me know how you did. So if you guys don't know, Mike's an extremely good bowler. He has a passion for it. So it's good to see him getting back into that level of it. Let's see. Jack Riley, what's up, brother? How you doing? What's new in your world? Amy Harrell, good morning. The Geiger. Yeah, the Geiger's nice. It's pretty cool. Jack, have you look up this coin? Here, look at this. I'm gonna take pictures of that and send that to you. Forward, back. Tell me what your thoughts are on this, and I'll explain the coin. It's authentic coin. It's real, but we'll talk about the slab a little bit. I saw that, and I told Mad Stacker that I had to have it. Jack Riley, 3 new articles on the rise. Outstanding. Hey, you know what? I have to apologize. I was not able to read last Sunday. You sent me something to read for Proxy Blog. And it wasn't until Thursday that I realized I had totally blown that off, but you'd already posted it. So I apologize for that. I have got to kind of restructure and reorganize my day. I'm not following up like I should have, so I apologize. Sean Leslie, Cloud 1 ounce. I'm confused. Say that again. Which one? Cloud or 1 ounce? I'm confused. Uh, Sean. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Um, yeah. So that the slab, I was like, holy smokes, what are you talking about? Yeah, I'm confused too. So we'll talk a little bit about it. Paula knows about it, but yeah, it's it's not exactly what it says it is. Kind of like the new Engelhart Prospector. If you guys haven't seen my short for that, go look at that one. Um, again, I have some issues with the label, but because again, it's not exactly what it says it is, but it is what it says it is. Um, but yeah, it's a neat piece, and again, for those of us that were in military or worked with the military during 9/11, it's definitely one of those things that I enjoy having. Again, history coin, right? That's exactly what I want to look for. Um, I have a newspaper clipping from my grandfather bowled back-to-back 300 games in 1949. I've got my grandfather's clipping. Actually, no, I don't. My mother has it of my grandfather's 300 when he got his. Um, and when he passed away, I've had 7 hole-in-ones, and one of them was on a par four. You guys don't believe me? I'll take a picture of the certificate um, uh, because I was demoing for Ping um, some clubs, some golf clubs, and I was working with a gentleman by the name of Gene Graham, and 313-yard par four, hit a driver, hook around a tree, ball disappeared. I thought I lost it, was getting ready to hit a second approach, and the guy called over. He says, "What ball are you using?" And I was like, "A Callaway." He's like, "Red Callaway?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's in the hole." I was like, what? Never saw it. Never saw it. But when he passed away, he had the newspaper articles of 4 of my hole-in-ones. 2 of them came in golf tournaments, and one was the par four. That was the one that happened right before he passed in 1996. But yeah, cool stuff. So I keep all those. I love, but again, I'm a storyteller and I love history, and I enjoy collecting those things. I actually, Herman Ortiz reached out. I popped into one of his streams and he said, "Hey, Frosty, I've got something for you. If you guys like, I'm going to give him a little plug. If you guys like um, old newspapers, and I mean old newspapers, 1850s, 1860s, 1870s, he had a bunch of them the other day, and I actually put in a request for 2 very specific years. The months doesn't matter, 2 very specific years, because I want to read the paper to see about coin acts that were happening in that particular year. Um, and so I'm on a kind of a little research project. So if you guys like old newspapers, and most of these are not yellow, they look really, really nice. They're still in a good protective cases. If you guys like that kind of stuff, reach out to Herman Ortiz, or if you don't know who he is and you want to know more about it, reach out to me and I'll get you connected with him because they were pretty cool. They were pretty neat things. I'm going to get one. Sorry, I had to take a drink. I'm going to get one and put it in a shadow box with the coins of that year, and then put it in a area where I start to display. I'm going to be redoing my studio a little bit and changing the views. I want to have 2 views set up so that I can show myself with the stuff that it has behind me, and then show things like what's on the screen right now, which is my desktop, and I'll put different coins and talk about different things so you have a multi-view. I'll make it a little bit more interactive for the folks in portrait mode as well. So I think you guys will like the change, but that's going to be a little while before I can finish getting to that. Azure Blue, earlier this year, I met a guy and his wife at the gym. He told me that his grandfather was a jeweler in New York City. When his grandfather died, the federal government confiscated his safety deposit boxes. Wow, interesting. Curious. You know what the end result of that was? Because that would be curious to find out. War, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. I was in a chat with War the other day in another stream, and good to see you. All right. Hey, Vote for Pedro just dropped Herman's information in there. Yeah, if you go check out the auction he did at the coin show the other day, he had a really cool set of newspapers, just like really cool. And I've asked him for a couple years, very specific to some CoinX, because again, I want to track that history. But thank you for throwing that in there, Vote for Pedro. Appreciate it. Yeah, that sucks. But again, there are always concerns, and that's something that Tiger and I are going to be talking about. I got kind of squirreled. I was going to mention Tiger and I later this week. Stack Collector is going to be on Tiger Stackers this coming week. Now, it should have been on my channel because we alternate back and forth. But Tiger Stacker has secured an interview for us. It's going to be Tiger Stacker and my, as far as Stack Collector goes, our first guest. And it's not just a little guest. He has talked to Lynette Zhang of Zhang Industries. She is a person who very much we have mirrored Stack Collector after. Now, not her directly. There's a number of influences, both looking at the numismatic side, including the way that people explain and go through stuff and talk about coins in the various communities and the stuff, making sure people are tied together in a network structure. And then on the opposite side of the stacking community, looking at wealth preservation and making sure things are taken care of on that front. And so Lynette Zhang is going to come. We've posed a couple questions to her, got stuff done. I just finished building the thumbnail, and so I put information to Tiger. Tiger's going to be going live with that as soon as he puts the live out there. I'll be sharing it on my community page. So make sure you're going subscribe to Tiger if you haven't already. Most of you are already subscribed to Tiger Stacker. Not a big deal. Did I just lose you guys? Sorry about that. I think I just lost you guys. We had a loud bang outside, and then the power flickered. Looks like I'm back. Okay, that was really weird. Yeah, I'm not sure if something blew up but we had a lot, and it's sunny. Well, there may be clouds. Maybe that was lightning from the other side of the house. I may not be able to see it on my side, but there was a loud bang and the power flickered, and it was like, whoa, what the hell? Okay, well, good. I'm glad you guys are still there. I was concerned for a minute. Yeah. Thanks, Vote for Pedro. I appreciate you putting that in there. That's Tiger Stacker. But yeah, we're going to have Lynette Zhang, and we're going to talk. We've posed some questions to her. And okay, Paula, love you, my friend. Thank you for being in chat. So good to see you. And we'll continue to chat, everybody. But yeah, thanks, Paula. Appreciate you. Love you bunches. Let's see. Big Apple Stackers in the house. What's up, Fugazi? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, fun stuff. All right, everybody's saying bye to Paula. Very cool. Well, question for you guys. We have it. You know what? It could have been. Well, no, I don't think it was a transformer. The power would have been out a little bit longer. Well, no. It could have been quick backup. It was pretty fast though. I don't think it would have been a transformer. Plus, I don't really have. Actually, there's one over by the community center by us. So it could have, yeah. No, I got two streams going on. War, I do two streams. One is vertical, one is horizontal. Um, I have I have it here, so hold on just a second, and I will pin that there. If you want to be in the horizontal, you can go over there. Um, very cool. Do you guys have any questions that you want to pose? Anything? We've got about 30 minutes. I don't have a whole lot to talk about. Actually, you know what? No, I take that back. I do want to talk about something. Dang Decepticons. Yeah, exactly. That's funny. I want to pull something up. I want to get you guys' opinion. Now, I dropped a short about this. And I am going to share my screen really quick. And I want your guys' opinion. So, all right. I want to be very clear. I am in no way affiliated, no sponsor. Them and I have no ties together. I am going here because there's something really interesting here. And there is a coin here. There it is. All right. So we've got this pulled up. Close this out. So we've got this pulled up, and this is a 2025 Engelhard. Azure, I'll talk to you. I have a bunch of research. I'm going to have a couple people looking out to see if we can find one. I'm gonna sell some of my collection to try to find one. But I'll reach out as soon as I start to find stuff on it. I'll reach out to you and let you know. I'll definitely update you. Appreciate that. But again, so this is something that I dropped a short on yesterday, and I want your guys' opinion. So when you look at this particular round, it's come, yeah, it's been a while since you've been on FX. I don't do it. I just happened to see something. Last night I was talking with, in chat, Steve and Eric Gillian just subscribed. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you. If you will look, if you're on the vertical side, you click that link, come to the horizontal side in the bottom left-hand corner, or the bottom right-hand corner, excuse me, you will see your name. So thank you so much for doing that. Azure, fake. Well, here's the thing. I have a significant problem with the coin that's on the screen. Well, the round that's on the screen. And that's because the American Prospector, or Engelhard for that matter, doesn't exist. Now, I know if you guys are aware of this story, the situation, you've looked into it, you've read the thing, you're going to say, but Frosty, they purchased the rights to the name. Okay. But hear me out. If you look at this, you see the Prospector. If I look at the reverse, you see it's an Engelhard. 1 troy ounce, 999 fine silver. But yet, the company, okay, went out of business a while ago. Long while ago. And they haven't produced anything because the company, the German company that bought them out, basically turned around and liquidated it. Basically got rid of stuff. And while they own the rights and the information to the coins that have been out and been produced, the bars, they keep the Engelhard. You can look them up, you can search it, you can check things out. It's not a real Engelhard. Now, here's where I want to go down and show you something very specific. Oops, right here. Okay. Now, it states the silver rounds are no longer being minted. We know that because Engelhard is not in existence. Okay, no problem. However, they were very popular, and these modern replicas pay careful homage. This is totally me, but should this not say replica somewhere? Shouldn't they have it on the edge or something so that people understand that this isn't an authentic Engelhard? Yes. Now, I get the fact that there may be people who look at this and say, you know, well, what does it matter? It's an Engelhard. You look at the thing and it's fine. But shouldn't it say replica? Because if you go and you look, and I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to stay in AppMex because you guys need to see AppMex's prices. We're going to compare apple to apple, right? If you look at the price of this, it's 45 bucks. Okay. But if I come over here and whoop, I have to type in price prospector, right? But it found me anyway. And I start going through the prospector rounds. Well, there are more, right? Now, some of them, because you have a lot of them, or maybe they're in really bad condition or whatnot, the prices are going to be different. You see ones that are toned and you know, whatever it might be. But these are authentic. And some of these, depending upon the year or the mintage or the size, some of these are extremely expensive. Extremely expensive. And if you don't know better, what's the likelihood of people selling you this, buying it from AppMex, turning around and selling it as, you know, the authentic Engelhard? Now, does that mean that, you know, this company that did that, do you think that they will be able to continue to do these year after year after year? Are they reinvigorating this particular run? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, right? I don't know. Maybe it was a one-time rights thing to do some sort of kind of memorial thing. I don't know the details. I'm going to continue to kind of dig in and try to find out more about the company. Now, I have found out by looking at the information here. Let me take, where is this? Let me pull something else up real quick. Don't know if I have it. Actually, I may not. I thought I had pulled up the other one, and I guess I didn't. Doesn't matter. I was trying to find, because I thought I had pulled it up, but again, I don't. I only have this up. I must have closed the other item. But what I wanted to pull up was the mintages and the scarcity of each one of these. And so some of these are very, very collectible. And again, when you look at certain years, again, this is random year, so below it's $45. You could get the 2025. What's keeping them from doing that? I think it's just problematic. Now, they have, well, so Neil, I'm going to talk about that because they didn't buy the name. They bought the rights to something. And we're going to talk about that. I need to get some more specific. Yeah, exactly. And some of these, especially when you're looking at some of the prices of those things, are extremely expensive. He just sent me one of an Engelhard bar that's like $4,000 because, again, they are very collectible. But I think it's kind of a shady deal for AppMex to sell these things and then sell this one special because they happen to get the rights from it, and they're working in partnership with their name. And again, I had the information. I must have pulled it up or closed it. I thought I had saved it, but I didn't save it. So I'll figure it out and post an update in my community or in the bottom of the short that I did with that. But yeah, so legally they're not doing anything wrong. I think it's just a little bit misleading. I think it's that this is where you talk about misinformation versus disinformation. I think that they are providing the correct information. They're doing it just in a self-serving manner. And is that a problem? Legally, no. Morally, not really. It's capitalism, but it kind of is ethically. And I think that it's just this thing. They should, on the rim or somewhere, they should just let people know that this isn't one of the original series. It's not something you have to have. You're never going to find it in a book because people are going to say, the rare 2025. Now, here's the other thing that kicks me. Now, very limited quantity. Now, I'm going to show this because it's very limited, extremely limited mintage. I dare anybody in chat, okay? You tell me what the exact mintage of this is going to be. Tell me where they have listed it. Tell me where they have told you how many there are. You tell me where you can find it. Show me the documents. And tell me how AppMex can say it's extremely limited where they don't list the mintage anywhere. Yeah, I have a major problem with this. And so, again, I'm not calling AppMex out on anything. I just think it's not the most cleanest of practices. Oh, wow. I just got your message, and I didn't realize that those were. Yeah, you got to be careful. Holy smokes! So they are doing. Oh, the holy smokes! I didn't know that. Okay, we'll have to go back into that too, because again, they're minting gold bars too, or silver bars. I didn't know that they were minting silver bars. So I want to go look at that. But again, now, here's the thing. It says they bought the rights, but it doesn't say specifically. And again, you can go under details, look at the history. You can see about that. It does tell you a little bit. No, again, it's in the other one. It doesn't tell you here. It does tell you a little bit about the connection. The German company, the BCIF or the BFIG or whatever the name of the company is. I'll have to pull it up. Again, I had it already, and I must have closed that tab. And I'll get the name of it, and I'll make sure you have it. But they basically disintegrated Engelhard, and so the people bought the right to the dice to use it. I don't think they bought the right to the name. So I have to find out, because if you research Engelhard, it doesn't exist. It's basically an archived company, and so they maintain the name because of its history and because of the collectability of them. BASF. Thanks, Azure. I appreciate you doing that. I had it all set up, and I was looking at all the information, but I couldn't find the tab. I don't know what I did with it. So. But yeah, anyway, it was just a question I wanted to ask you guys. And again, nothing against AppMex. I just don't think that I don't think they're pulling this right. I think it should say oops, I can't type. Or there, well, actually, you know what? That's funny. Here it is. There it is, pre-sale, $199, 2025. Going to be available in August. That's what Azure just sent me. Interesting. So yeah, I'm going to have to look at that and find out. I'm going to have to find out if they actually bought the name Engelhard, because if they're doing everything Engelhard, then I'd be curious. But again, I think it's misleading if they're going to be creating replicas. And again, they're calling them replicas. They're not original. I think that is shady. I don't know. I think they should be forced to put the word replica there. And there's nothing on the back, so it's not stamped anywhere. It doesn't say it. So curious. You all make up your own mind. Again, my job is to not cause dissension or frustration. It's just, yeah. So Neil, that's what I just said just a second ago. Yeah, it is owned by them. There is a company that pulled together to look at buying the dies, the prospector dies. They looked at it specifically. They may have a legal right to the Engelhard name, but if they are trying to recreate Engelhard name just by using Engelhard, I think there's something deceptive about it. It doesn't mean that it's not legal. It doesn't mean that they don't have the legal right to do it. But I think for those collectors or those people who are trying to collect it, it's like the Franklin Mint or the Danbury Mint. I think they're kind of deceptive in the way that they sell things too. And it's not that what they sell is necessarily bad. They just don't, and they won't carry the same value, intrinsic value, because it's not Engelhard making this anymore. It's somebody else. They just threw Engelhard's name on it. I don't know how that would be any difference. You know, Neil, I get that. That's not my point. But again, there should be things in place. Hobby Protection Act, right? That should be taken into account here, in my opinion. But that's me. That's just me. You guys stand where you stand. You guys make your own minds. I don't need to do that for you. I just provide you the information. You make your own assessment. It's called critical thinking. You should try it sometime. It's great. All right, folks. I appreciate you guys being here. I am going to get my stuff together, figure out what I'm going to be talking about. I need to reach out to a couple people about tomorrow's stream. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out a couple minutes early. I really appreciate, apparently nobody liked that. They automatically left. That's terrible. They came in, subscribed, and I said I was leaving, and they unsubscribed. It's okay. Not a big deal. And if you are an Engelhard fan and you want to get these, you know, hey, by all means, it's your money. I just think it's a little shady. That's my take. That is a very true fact. And again, you know, we'll talk more about it. If you guys want to talk about it, comment in chat. Let me know that you want to talk more about this. If you care less, then just say no. It's okay. Oh, Amy, I have people unsubscribe me all the time. It's okay. The subscribers way outrun the unsubscribers, so I'm good. No worries there at all. I just think it's funny. But yeah, there's potential repercussions from this. Now, let's say it's a one-time thing, very rare. They do end up doing a very, very, very low mintage, even though they don't tell you how many it's going to be. And they just said, oh, it was a planned 10,000, but they just couldn't sell them, and so now it becomes 5,000. Who knows what they're going to do? But again, if these things sell really, really well, I think that low mintage is going to be higher because they haven't documented what that mintage is going to be. Again, there's just too many things that are a little deceptive here, and I just don't. I'm not a fan. So, all right, folks. Well, hey, I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you so much for coming in. Again, remember, I will be here tomorrow, same time, 8:30 Central. If you guys have something that you want me to talk about, you have questions, bring them and drop them in chat, and I will do my best. And if you have ideas for videos, email me, frostbitecoins@gmail.com, and say, hey, I really want to know more about, and I will do my best to try to put stuff together. All right? All right, folks, y'all be well, be blessed.